The 1990 United States quarter dollar, struck at the Denver Mint, represents a continuation of a long-running and iconic series in American numismatics. This coin features the enduring Washington quarter design, which has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1932, initially created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse front of the 1990 D quarter bears a striking left-facing portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, modeled after Jean-Antoine Houdon's 18th century bust. Above his image is the word liberty, and to the left and right are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and the D Mint mark, respectively. The date 1990 appears just beneath his neckline. The reverse back design features an eagle with outstretched wings clutching a bundle of arrows, a traditional American symbol of strength and preparedness for defense, while an olive branch lies below, symbolizing peace. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum," out of many one, adorn the upper portion of the coin, while quarter dollar anchors the bottom. This heraldic eagle reverse, designed by John Flanagan, was used from 1932 until 1998, just before the 50-state quarters program began in 1999. The 1990 D quarter is made of a clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This so-called cupidnical clad design replaced the earlier 90% silver quarters starting in 1965 due to rising silver prices. The diameter is 24.26 millimeters, and the weight is approximately 5.67 grams, with reeded edge, tiny grooves around the edge, which not only deters counterfeiting but also recalls earlier times when coins were clipped for their silver content. The Denver Mint, designated by the D Mint mark, struck approximately 927,638,181 quarters in 1990, making this coin common in circulation and relatively easy to find in average condition. Despite its high mintage, well-preserved or high-grade examples, especially those graded MS-66 or above by numismatic grading services, can attract attention from collectors, although their monetary value remains modest due to the abundance of surviving examples. From a historical perspective, the coin reflects both continuity and change within the American economy. By 1990, the United States was entering a new decade, recovering from the 1987 market crash and transitioning into an era that would soon be marked by technological innovation and the end of the Cold War. This quarter, a familiar everyday object in the pocket of Americans, became part of daily transactions ranging from vending machines to payphones and laundromats. It represents a tangible artifact from a pivotal time in late 20th century American life. The retention of the traditional Washington quarter design also signifies a cultural reverence for America's founding figures during a time of shifting political and global landscapes. Although the design would remain unchanged for a few more years, it was already being discussed by the U.S. Mint and Treasury for eventual overhaul, leading to the more diverse and state-specific imagery of the late 1990s. Collectors today might be interested in the 1990 D quarter for various reasons, perhaps for completing a date/mint set of Washington quarters, or for examining minor errors and varieties, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or double dies, though no major varieties are widely recognized for the specific year and mint. For the casual collector, it is a nostalgic piece representing a design that had dominated American coinage for nearly 7 decades. The coin also represents a transitional moment in American numismatics, just before the launch of the 50-state quarters program, which would radically reshape the design of quarters and reignite widespread public interest in coin collecting. In sum, the 1990 D quarter is both a workhorse of the U.S. economy and a piece of numismatic history, standing at the intersection of tradition, change, and the everyday experience of American life at the next top. The 1991 D United States quarter dollar, minted in Denver, represents a significant and interesting chapter in the broader history of American coinage. Though on the surface it may seem like a standard piece of pocket change, this coin reflects the economic, political, and artistic priorities of the era in which it was struck. The obverse front of the coin features the enduring and dignified profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, a design originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth. Created by sculptor John Flanagan, Washington's portrait has remained largely unchanged on quarters for decades, becoming one of the most instantly recognizable faces in U.S. coinage. Above his head appears the word liberty, a foundational American ideal and one of the nation's most cherished values. To the left is the motto "In God We Trust," which reflects the historical and cultural inclination of the American people toward religious expression and has been a standard inclusion on U.S. currency since the 19th century. Beneath Washington's portrait is the year 1991, indicating the coin production date, and just to the right of his ponytail appears the mint mark D, signifying that this quarter was minted at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the main production hubs of a U.S. mint system. On the reverse back side of the coin is a heraldic eagle design, also the work of John Flanagan. This version of the eagle has long been a patriotic symbol of strength and sovereignty, standing with wings outstretched and holding a bundle of arrows in its talons, symbolizing the nation's readiness to defend itself, while the olive branches underneath represent a parallel desire for peace. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions "United States of America" across the top and $quarter at the bottom, denoting the coin's issuing country and denomination, respectively. This design was part of the standard Washington quarter series that ran uninterrupted from 1932 until the 1998 issue, just before the start of the popular 50-state quarters program in 1999. In 1991, the quarter remained a vital coin in everyday commerce, used in vending machines, laundromats, public telephones, parking meters, and more. It had real purchasing power, even as inflation was beginning to reduce the practical value of small denomination coins. From a numismatic perspective, the 1991 D Washington quarter is not considered a rare coin, as over 630 million of them were minted at the Denver facility alone. However, collectors still seek high-grade specimens, particularly those in uncirculated condition mint state or with proof-like qualities. Coins graded MS-65 or higher can command modest premiums, especially if they exhibit strong luster, full details, and no significant contact marks. While circulation coins are generally of low individual value, their condition, historical significance, and inclusion in date and mint mark sets all contribute to their desirability in the collector community. There are also occasional errors or die varieties, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or weak reverses, that can make specific examples notably more valuable. The 1991 D quarter was composed of standard clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel, and had a total weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge. This composition had been in use since 1965, when silver was removed from circulating quarters due to rising bullion prices and a coinage shortage. The early 1990s was a period of transition and uncertainty in the United States. The Cold War was drawing to a close following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Gulf War had just ended, and the American economy was dealing with a recession. The coin's production in this particular year represents a time when the U.S. was reshaping its position on the global stage, and yet the design remained steadfast and unchanging, a reflection of the country's desire for continuity and unity in a rapidly evolving world. The Washington quarter, including the 1991 D issue, serve as a small yet steady anchor in the daily lives of millions of Americans. It passed from hand to hand in countless transactions, from buying a cup of coffee to paying for a newspaper, silently accompanying the rhythms of daily life in an age before smartphones and digital wallets. In cultural terms, the 1991 D quarter also occupies a place of nostalgic value for many Americans who grew up during this period. It was a familiar and ever-present object, part of allowance money, bubblegum purchases, and arcade visits. For some collectors and historians, the coin carries with the memories of an America on the cusp of digital transformation, but still deeply rooted in analog habits and tangible currency. Today, holding a 1991 D Washington quarter in one's hand is not just an act of handling money. It is a connection to a specific time, a reflection of enduring American identity, and a tribute to the man who helped establish the very foundations of the United States. While its face value remains 25 cents, its historical and symbolic worth reaches far beyond its modest denomination, the next top. The 1997 D United States quarter dollar is a part of the Washington quarter series, a coin that has been a staple of American pocket change since 1932. The D Mint mark indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the major facilities operated by the United States Mint, located in Colorado. The 1997 quarter belongs to the final years of the standard Washington quarter design before the launch of the 50 state quarters program in 1999, which introduced new reverse designs annually to honor each U.S. state. As such, the 1997 quarter stands as a symbolic and an era and represents a long-standing tradition in U.S. coinage that spanned over 6 decades. This coin bears the iconic obverse image of George Washington, the first president of the United States, designed by John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. The portrait has a stern and statesmanlike profile facing left, accompanied by inscriptions that read "Liberty above," "In God We Trust" at the left, and the mint date 1997 centered below Washington's neck. The reverse design is a standard eagle motif, an American bald eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with 2 olive branches below, symbolizing the dual themes of war and peace. This reverse was designed to reflect strength, unity, and national pride. The inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar are inscribed in large capital letters along the rim, with E pluribus unum between the eagle's head and the denomination. Struck in a clad composition of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, the 1997 D quarter has a standard weight of 5.67 grams and diameter of 24.26 millimeters. Over 599 million of these coins were minted at Denver, making them widely available and not considered rare, but uncirculated examples in mint state grades or proof-like condition can be of interest to collectors. This quarter also serves as an important representation of late 20th century American coinage prior to the design shift that was initiated with the state quarters. In the broader historical and cultural context, coins like the 1997 D quarter are time capsules of their era, silently witnessing the economic, political, and technological shifts of the United States in the 1990s, a decade marked by the rise of the Internet, global political changes after the Cold War, and America's strong economic expansion. Despite being a common coin, it holds a significant place in the numismatic timeline, linking the original purpose of coinage with the evolving values of the American people. Its presence in everyday transactions made it a constant, tactile connection to national heritage for millions of Americans, and even today, it continues to circulate, representing the durability and symbolism embedded in U.S. coinage next top. The 1996 D United States quarter dollar, part of the long-running Washington quarter series, stands as a tangible artifact from the final years before the U.S. Mint transitioned to the 50-state quarters program in 1999. This coin carries deep historical, numismatic, and economic significance, representing not only a denomination of American currency, but also a symbol of enduring national identity. Struck in Denver, as indicated by the D Mint mark beneath the motto, "In God We Trust," on the obverse. The 1996 quarter was one of the many billions minted during a decade of economic transformation and cultural change in the United States. At its core, the quarter dollar retained the image of George Washington, the nation's first president, whose profile had appeared on the obverse since 1932, commemorating his 200th birthday. Designed by John Flanagan, this portrait, while modified slightly over the decades for clarity and modern minting techniques, remained largely faithful to its original form, capturing Washington in a left-facing bust, stern yet dignified, his expression embodying leadership, integrity, and revolutionary legacy. The reverse of the 1996 D quarter features the heraldic eagle, a national emblem of power and freedom. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing military readiness, and is surrounded by olive branches, signifying peace. Above its head are the words United States of America, and beneath its wings, the denomination quarter dollar is clearly inscribed. The elegant balance between the sword and the olive branch conveys a dual message: America's desire for peace, yet its preparedness to defend its principles. This classic eagle reverse design was also by Flanagan and remained in use from 1932 until 1998, marking 1996 as one of the last few years before the massive redesign effort of the 50 State Quarters Initiative. Unlike later quarters, which would bear detailed representations of individual U.S. states and figures from American history. The 1996 D quarter preserves the federal symbolism that defined much of 20th century American coinage. From a technical perspective, the 1996 D quarter was minted from a clad composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin its distinctive silvery appearance with a slight copper edge visible from the side. This clad design replaced the original 90% silver composition in 1965 due to rising silver prices. Each coin has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, a weight of 5.67 grams, and a reeded edge, a tactile feature that historically helped deter counterfeiting and coin clipping. The Denver Mint, which produced over 906 million quarters in 1996 alone, was instrumental in meeting the circulating coin demand of a growing population. Despite this large mintage, the 1996 D quarter is not especially rare in circulated condition. However, well-preserved mint state MS examples, especially in grades MS66 and above, are more desirable to collectors, particularly if they exhibit full strike details, lustrous surfaces, and no contact marks. Economically and historically, the 1996 quarter circulated at a time of significant transition. The U.S. was nearing the end of the post-Cold War decade, experiencing strong economic growth, the rise of the internet, and increasing globalization. Cash and coin still played a vital daily role in American transactions before the full digital revolution took hold. Thus, the 1996 D quarter would have passed through countless hands, paying for parking meters, vending machines, bus fares, groceries, and millions of other small but essential purchases. Every scratch or dent on a worn example tells a micro-history of human commerce and interaction in the late 20th century. For younger collectors or history enthusiasts, this coin evokes the tactile world of pre-smartphone America, a time when pocket change still jingled meaningfully and coin collecting remained a popular pastime among children and adults alike. In numismatic terms, the 1996 D quarter does not boast significant varieties or minting errors widely recognized by the coin collecting community, though examples with off-center strikes, die cracks, or double die obverse may still surface in smaller numbers and fetch a premium depending on severity and clarity. The value of a circulated 1996 D quarter typically remains at face value, but uncirculated coins can range from $1 to $10 or more, depending on their condition. Proof versions were struck only at the San Francisco Mint and are distinguishable by their mirror-like finish, but no proof coins bear the D Mint mark. Ultimately, the 1996 D quarter symbolizes more than just 25 cents. It encapsulates decades of tradition, a bridge between the classic Eagle reverse era and the dynamic new wave of state-themed quarters, all while honoring America's first leader and the values the coin has long stood for: liberty, trust, unity, and heritage.